Would you like to know the secret about how the Earth was formed so many years ago? Well, in this 13th episode of our Chronicles of Hope discussion series, we're talking about the highlights of Session 7 in Chronicles of Hope. I am Lois Hermann, board certified hypnotist and author of Chronicles of Hope, and I hope that you are inspired by today's session. I'm reading from Session 7, the highlights. The history of Gaia and her Earth. The formation of the Earth. 1. Gaia is the spirit of Earth that formed with the Earth back when the planet was still molten, before there was any life. The planet itself is alive and encouraged life to grow on Earth. 2. There are many planets that support life. Planets with intelligent life are uncommon because intelligent life takes time to develop. 3. When the Big Bang happened and the universe was formed, at first it was only raw energy. As the universe expanded and cooled, particles began to precipitate out, and the Anquietas consciousness began to precipitate out as well. They came into existence with the existence of matter, which at that point was still raw subatomic particles. 4. As the universe continued to expand and cool, these particles formed hydrogen. Eventually, the hydrogen began to coalesce, partly by gravitational forces and partly by electrostatic charge. It was the electromagnetic force that pulled the first particles together. 5. The universe was so hot and contained enough energy that some hydrogen atoms fused to become helium. As these particles grew and coalesced, the first generation of stars were born. This first generation was made of what scientists call blue supergiants, very massive stars, 100 times larger than the size of our star. They burned very brightly, but very quickly. 6. After some 8 million years, the blue supergiants consumed their hydrogen and exploded in what scientists call a hypernova. This explosion created heavier elements and sent shock waves into the cloud of hydrogen to form the universe. These shock waves produced the coalescing effect that was necessary for the second generation of stars to be born. I'm not going to discuss this because it's pretty fascinating. This is all a history lesson that the Anquietas gave us through these channeled sessions. 7. The second generation stars were not as large and burned more coolly, yet longer. As they burned, they converted hydrogen to helium, helium to boron, boron to carbon, carbon to nitrogen, nitrogen to oxygen. All of the elements necessary for life were created by the second generations of stars. When their cores could no longer support the gravitational pull, they detonated as supernovas. The force of the supernovas created all of the other heavy elements needed to form planets, chief among them being iron. 8. As the shock waves from these supernovas reached out into space, they again triggered the coalescing of new solar systems, the third generation stars, stars much as our own. Scientists refer to them as G-type stars. These stars, much cooler, much smaller, did not disperse the hydrogen and other elements surrounding them the way the larger stars do. This allowed planetary formation. The dust became rocks, the rocks became planets. 9. This solar system is a third generation star. Our solar system is not unique, but it is very rare. Only one star in a million will have a planet capable of supporting life. And only 1 in a million of those will live long enough to produce advanced life. And only 1 in a million of those will live long enough to produce intelligent life. Isn't it amazing what had to happen for us to come around? 10. Life came to Earth. It was not originated here. Scientists refer to this process as panspermia. The first life in the solar system began on our sister planet, Mars. Life also started on Venus, but with no stabilizing moon, the atmosphere became too thick. It grew too hot, and all life on Venus perished. But on Mars, it flourished. Mars was a red-green planet for the first half of its life. Earth was suitable for life. It contained all the ingredients necessary, but the spark didn't happen. On Mars, it did. 11. Mars was struck by a giant asteroid and lost most of its mass, but the shower of turf it produced contained the seeds of life. Some of these seeds were caught by Earth's gravity. The atmosphere was much thinner at the time, so the particles were able to pierce the atmosphere without incineration. So basically, guys, we're all Martians. Read more in the Chronicles of Hope. I hope you're inspired by these messages. We invite you to join our Hope discussion group. We meet the second Thursday of every month. You can sign up at chroniclesofhope.net community. We're inspiring one another with how to apply the messages from these ancient ones in our daily lives, especially at times of big change. We're here to support one another. I hope you will join us. Meanwhile, look up, stay positive, and be the light in someone's day. I'm Lois Hermann. Many blessings.